Hi there. Today I want to show you the three products that we built as supply chain management solutions by WebWork Tools Limited. The first was the Supply Captain, Supply Platform, and Supply Nexus. These three products are almost the same. They solve similar problems, but they are different in their peculiar ways. So, Supply Quantum is what we call the three of them. These are products that work towards comprehensive procurement needs, like helping businesses in FMCG, those in wholesale, to manage procurement, sort out the stores where items are, and fulfill their issuing and the receiving of those items across the different locations and stations that their businesses are located. So Supply Captain, what's Supply Captain about? Supply Captain is a supply chain management solution that is focused on food or perishable supply lines. So now if you have anything that is food related, I'm just going to show you why Supply Captain. For food related items, you have just a few categories. You have the raw items, you have the processed items, and you have perishable. Another thing you have in Supply Captain here is that you have kitchens where food is cooked. Okay, so there are different kitchens at different stations where food will be processed or cooked. Then, if you come to the supply management here, you have consumptions where you record how food is consumed in specific kitchens, either by plan or actual consumption, which requires you provide the date. So, supply platform, just like supply captain, is different in only one way. Supply platform does the same thing for supply chain management, but it's focused on heavy industrial and mechanical items, or basically industrial items. Things that have to do with liquid, gas, and what have you. Now, we didn't really talk about much of the details in Supply Captain because food is basically measured just like items used in industry are measured. Now, let me tell you what is different in Supply Platform. Supply Platform, unlike Supply Captain, works with, if you come to inventory now, you see that there are more item types. You have the component, you have the assembly, you have the bundle, you have the product, you have the asset, and you have the resource. So it just depends on what kind of industrial item this is. You can choose the item type accordingly. It still follows the same, features of Supply Captain, but the item types are different. Then, one thing I have to mention here is we have a unit management here that helps you to manage like the weight of the items, so that when you have them in stores, you can calculate this weight. Now, this weight could be anything. It could be kg, it could be liters, okay? It could even be centimeters or millimeters or something, you know. So anything it is, it could even be bags. It could be packets, and then the weight is 12. What it means is that there are 12 items in this packet. So basically, you can measure weight with anything for anything. Okay, you can measure quantities deep down to their various units. It's just that anything you set a quantity for in the unit, you have to also distribute it and use it in such units. We're going to talk about that in other videos. Now, for supply platform, we also have, instead of kitchens, we have facilities. Facilities are the places where things are processed, like industry related items. Say you want to get spare parts to use to produce an automobile, you will take some spare parts to some facilities for processing. Now, if you come to supply, for instance, from the store, you are going to use pipelines. So you add the items to pipelines, and then the pipelines will be fulfilled in facilities. So a pipeline, a pipeline is a process, so an item could go through a process in a pipeline to be fulfilled in a facility. Now, this could be for industrial items, and this could also be used with supply captain in case you are having two different kinds of businesses. Say you have one business that's a petrol station, you use supply platform. You have a different business that is a restaurant, you use supply captain. But then something we discovered along the way, supply nexus. What does supply nexus do? Just by the word nexus, you can basically see that supply nexus brings both matrices together: food and perishable items, heavy industrial and mechanical items, or even other industrial items like oil, fluids. It brings everything together. And there are peculiar aspects of supply nexus that would improve your business. And this is the first product we actually gave to our very first client, Supply Nexus. We offered it to them because it is in the process of discovering their business needs that we came together to say, hey, why don't we bring out Supply Nexus? So what does Supply Nexus do? I thought you never asked. So Supply Nexus in the inventory side has a very interesting twist. So if you go to global items, you have two things that are different. You find out that what you have for supply captain, raw components, that's you have raw processed perishable, then you have components, product assembly, then you have asset bundle resource. So basically you have the all the types that are available in supply captain, supply platform, and then new options in supply. Of course, these two options make up supply nexus because supply captain used raw processed perishable, supply nexus used components, product assembly, asset bundle resource. So you have a combination of both. So you can do the different types of items all in one business. Now, the second thing that supply nexus has is this field called usage type. So usage type is of three options. You have pipeline for industrial items, consumption for food, or dynamic for both types. Okay? So here we have consumption, here we have pipeline, and here we have dynamic. So consumption is the first type here. So it allows you to choose the item as a food item or something that can be consumed in a kitchen, or a pipeline tells you that this item can be consumed, can be used in a pipeline, can be passed to a pipeline. And dynamic tells you that the item may be passed to either a consumption in the kitchen or a pipeline in a facility. So that's dual purpose. Okay. So now let's go to the other part of what this does. So when we go to Supply Nexus administrative area, you find out that you can create kitchens and you can create facilities at the different stations. So you can have places where things are taken to facilities and things are taken to kitchen. So what is edible goes to the kitchen and what is usable goes to the facilities. Then if you go to the supply area now, you have two options. You have the pipelines here, which allows you to add pipelines and add consumptions. And what's interesting here is if an item is a pipeline item, global item is a pipeline item, you will not be able to add it to consumption. And if a global item is a consumption item, you won't be able to add it to pipelines. In another video, we're going to just show you basic examples of how to use each of these three products. But for now, thanks for having me and thank you for choosing the supply quantum. Goodbye for now. Hi there, and you are welcome to this video. In this video, I want to show you how supply captain will work for a food business. Okay, so we're going to set it up, but before we set it up, I'm just going to show you around. So, supply captain is made up of four sets of modules. We have purchasing, we have supply, we have inventory, and we have administration. There are two ways to set up supply captain. The first way is doing it manually, starting your business for the first time. You go to administration here, and then under administration, the first thing you have to do is to set up your users because that will determine who has access to the application. For today, our user is WWT apps. So we're going to set up this user here by adding the user WWT apps. We're going to add our official phone number. We're going to put the email address and select the username. A username is only required when the user is going to be a reviewer to approve anything. So, of course, being the administrator here, I'm specifying this username. And then there are user privileges. As admin, I'm supposed to have access to everything. But if you want to limit the user to any of these, you have to limit the user by location, station, stores, and then kitchens. So I'll go ahead and add our administrator to the system. So now we've added our very first user who is the admin, and his tier level is 1. In this case, there are one, two, three, four. There are 5 tier levels. Tier level 1 means you have access to everything. 2 means you are limited to location. 3 means you are limited to station. 4 is to stores, and 5 is to kitchens. Okay. So now we've set up the user. We're now going to add our location. The first type of business that we're going to work with is a food business, yeah? And the name of the business is ABC Foods. But in order to add location, we're going to add the location in a very interesting way. We don't have a logo yet. Maybe we can ask AI to give us a logo, um, or we'll do that later. Or let's see, no, not in this video. Later on, maybe we can update the logo and maybe with AI. But for now, if you have your logo, you put it here. This will be important for documents that I'll talk to you about in a bit. Okay. So now in this place we have location name, description, physical address. I'm just going to go around, and here we have the station. The stations are inside the locations. So you have different settings here for approval, restrictions, and all of that in each station. Then you have the stores. The stores are inside each station. So, for instance, you have locations, you have stations in the location, you have stores in the stations, and you have kitchens in the stations as well. Then you have your global set of suppliers with all their preferences that you can use to manage them. Okay. After setting that up, you need to add sections for your stores, units, like we discussed in other videos. The unit tells you what type of units the item should use. Then after that, you are going to need to add your global items. When you add your global items, you should be about done. And this should be good enough to help you start business by making purchasing requests and then recording supplies for the set of users that you have added. However, if you want to do migration of your products, it's really easy. After you've added everything in the administrative section, it's important for you to go to the station and enable migration one after the other. If you choose run migration, you're going to need to choose a supplier, which can be like a template supplier you have added to be able to carry out the migration. Okay. So now, when you've done this for the template supplier, you then go ahead to your inventory. Having that you have already set up everything else as mentioned before, you are going to have to import your store items. You can do that by clicking all store items. If store items exist, you are going to see an option at the right top here where my mouse is right now, just under this help area where you can import store items. But now that there's nothing here, you can choose to import. And then if you import store items for a station that has migration enabled, okay, it's going to automatically bring in the items, like add requisitions, add orders, add bills, and then automatically record supplies for the items. And then it will confirm and link those supplies to the store items so that you can just start scanning the items right away. Okay. So you may either do things manually or you might do migration, but note that you can only do migration one station at a time. Okay, so that's how the system works. So in the next video, we are going to show you how to add the actual records. This video was just to take you around the supply captain. But in the next video, we're going to add ABC Foods and you see just how your business can be on Supply Captain. Thank you. Hi there, and welcome to this video. We're going to add records to Supply Captain. When you get it installed, this is what it looks like. Now, mind you, if you're not in Nigeria, we're willing to make a version that has your own currency. And if you are not in Nigeria as well, we're willing to make sure that the timestamps are in your own time zone. So do not mind the fact that you see Naira in this video. Okay, it was built from Nigeria, but for everyone. So now let's get started with supply captain for ABC Foods, shall we? So let's go to add location and then we're going to add ABC Foods Limited HQ. Okay, so we have ABC Foods Limited HQ. Um, I'm going to, while I'm filling this form, I'm going to ask a particular AI agent to just, an AI platform to just generate a logo for ABC Foods. And since it's done with AI, please, there's no brand defamation here. So I'll just say, please create a logo for ABC Foods Limited. Okay. So, okay, so while that's going on, this allows you to put description. We really don't need that here. I'm going to have to put the address of ABC Foods HQ, and that's 123 Rumola Road, and it's in Port Harcourt. Just an example. Okay, so Port Harcourt, Rivers, 502. Is that the, yeah, 102 rather, 500102, and this is in Nigeria. Okay. Now we don't need purchasing webhook, it's the technical stuff for automatically working with finance apps. Then we have our first location. And now when you are adding locations, it's important for you to have your own prefix and suffix and make sure it's unique. So for this is the HQ. So what we're going to do is to say POABC, okay, or POHQ. Let's call this POHQ. So HQ is the suffix for the purchase order number to be generated automatically. Now let's go get our logo from the AI. Wow, and we have a beautiful logo for ABC Foods created. Okay, so well, let's just give it up for Gemini. So we'll add it. It uploads the logo and it gives us the opportunity to have a location with a logo. Isn't that just beautiful? Can't you just don't you just love the logo we've created? Okay, now let's be serious. Let's add other things. So that's our logo there. Okay. Then we're going to add the annex location now. 262 ABC Food Annex. So I like to add from the right top here so that it would bring things. I'm going to also use the same logo. ABC Foods Limited Annex. Okay. It's at Equerry Road, Port Harcourt, Rivers, 262. And I choose my country here. And then I'm going to call this ANN or ANX. I can't do more than four characters for a suffix or prefix. It's a maximum of four characters. So I can say ANX, okay, to indicate annex. Yeah. Okay, so we have our annex has been added. Okay. Then we're going to add one more, or let's try to be adding the locations. Yeah, let's keep adding the locations we want to add. We might use more than one video for one illustration. Let's just keep adding them. So we have ABC Foods Lagos, and then this is at Isaac John Ikeja 100271. So this is at Ikeja. Okay, 0271. Okay, and here this is ABC Foods Lagos. So let's do LAG. Okay, and then we have our ABC Foods in Lagos. Then we have ABC Foods Abuja. Okay, so go ahead and click the plus sign. We'll put our beautiful logo for ABC Foods. And then we have ABC Foods Abuja. And to be sure that I did the right thing, let me select it again. ABC Foods Abuja. And this is, I've not copied the address. Um, ABC Foods Abuja is at Wuse 2 123 XYZ Mall, Wuse 2900288. Okay, so we have I think is Wuse to the Wuse to it's like the yeah, then we have Abuja, Nigeria, I think. Yeah. And 288. Yeah. So we're going to now say ABJ is the purchase order component. So we have all our locations have been set up, and this is how beautiful it looks when you do the right thing. Though you can do these technical things if you're interested in integrations. Now let's add the stations. I'm going to have to really keep track of time here. We've used nearly 10 minutes. So let's then add stations. We may not do all the transactions in this video, but we would at least be able to do one transaction if you don't take time. So for stations, we have ABC stores. Okay. So oh, hang on, let me see. Yeah, ABC stores is a I'm thinking if we have the okay, we have three stations in okay. We have I think I get what is even making me a bit itchy. We have the ABC HQ station. Okay, because I have this somewhere. And I think where I made a mistake was I was supposed to put in the descriptions. Okay, so this is the station that has the stores, um, as it were, and this is located in the HQ. Now, internal requisition reviewer is the person who will handle internal requisitions. I'll just put myself, but you can have other users accordingly. External is those who handle to other stations. Then we have the store manager is the person who is going to receive prompts for anything that has to do with the store. Flag reviewer is the person who's going to make sure things are not short or wrongly set. Expiry notice time is the time where you get notifications and on expiry. And run migrations in case you want to run migrations, but we don't want to. Now, if you are restricting requisitions for any reason, you may want to choose to restrict them from here. But we're not restricting today, we're just doing a demo. So this is a station setup. Okay, so this is what a station looks like. Okay, now we're going to add the second station. Second station is the ABC extension. And the ABC extension is for the ABC warehouse. Okay, and then the ABC extension is located in the HQ warehouse. Yeah, it's located in the HQ. I didn't quite say this one. So we have this in the HQ so that we have only one. Yeah. So let's go ahead and put our settings here for the various users. So there's no restriction and we're good to go. So this is for ABC extension. Okay. Then we have the ABC annex is located in the annex, and the annex is basically the lounge. We didn't quite put the comments. That's why I almost got confused. So it's sometimes important to put your comments. When you put comments like this, it helps people to understand what you're talking about. So you have your users being selected. Okay, no restrictions. And then this is for the annex. Okay, now the next place here is going to be ABC Lagos. Now, let's say you have only one business station in Lagos. So you have ABC Lagos. And then this technically describes ABC Fast Food Lagos State. Okay. And then you have the location as ABC Lagos. Internal requisition reviewer here. No restriction, and we're good. Then finally, we have ABC Abuja. So we're going to add ABC Abuja station. And we're going to put a description. We're going to choose the Abuja location. Put our reviewers, our store manager, flag reviewer, and we're good to go. So just for correctness, let's go to our various locations and put some descriptions right there. So for the HQ now, the description of the HQ is basically the head office. Okay. So put it as a head office. Then we have the description of the annex is the lounge. Okay, ABC lounge. Then the description of the Lagos part, that's the Lagos location. Wait for it. Is ABC Fast Food West. Okay. And then you have the comment, that is the description for ABC Abuja. Of course, you know what it is. No, sorry, not here. I didn't choose Abuja, I chose Lagos. ABC Abuja, yeah, is North Central. Okay, so when you scroll like this, you see that this is a simple description, but if you open each of them, you can scroll easily to know what locations they are. Okay, so now that we've done the stations, it's time for us to set up the stores. But we're going to check our clock again and see how we're doing. Okay, we're almost 15 minutes in, so let's try and save the remaining 15 minutes to at least set up the system. So let's add a store. We're going to add store from here. So the first store we have is the dry store. Then we have the frozen store. Then we have the drinks store. Then we have something very interesting here. We have the boxed store. So you see, things that are in boxes can vary. Okay. So oh no, I don't think I want to do boxed. Let's just have dry, frozen, and drinks. Now, for us to have dry, frozen, and drinks, we need to be smart about it. Where will we have dry, frozen, and drinks? We're going to have them in ABC stores. We're going to have them in the warehouse. We're going to have them across everywhere. So, what we're going to do is to have ABC HQ hyphen dry. We don't need a description here, but you can put one. And this is HQ. Okay. Then we have the next one, which is ABC HQ hyphen frozen, and we have it in HQ. Then we have ABC HQ drinks. We have this in HQ. We're done with HQ. Now we'll move to ABC and ABC extension. So ABC extension dry. We're going to choose the extension. Now ABC extension frozen. We're going to choose extension. Now ABC extension drinks. We're going to choose extension. Then let's go annex. We have ABC annex dry. I will choose annex. We have ABC annex frozen. We choose annex. And we have ABC annex drinks. We choose annex. The next one we have ABC Lagos. So we have ABC Lagos dry. We have Lagos. We have ABC Lagos frozen. We have Lagos. And we have ABC Lagos drinks. And we have Lagos. Then finally, we have ABC Abuja. So we have done HQ extension annex Lagos, and let's do Abuja now. We have ABC Abuja dry. We have Abuja. We have ABC Abuja frozen. We have Abuja. And we have ABC Abuja drinks. And we have Abuja. So all our stores have been set up. Now we need to set up kitchens. What's beautiful about kitchens is we might need only one kitchen for each station. We don't need different types of kitchens. But for some kind of stations, we might need different kinds of kitchens. So let's look at the kind of stations we have. First, we have the head office. The head office needs just one kitchen. They don't need to do too many things there. Okay? So we're gonna have ABCHQ kitchen. Let me check the time. Okay, we have 8 minutes left. Okay, so we have ABCHQ kitchen, and then we're going to choose the station HQ. That's only the simple type of kitchen. Okay, it's just for them to eat what they collected there. Okay, and it's for their own use. Now, the extension is the warehouse. Let's say the warehouse has different types of kitchens. They have the butchery, they have the pudding, and they have the pastries. Okay. So we have ABC extension. The first one is, let's start with pastries, a type of kitchen at ABC extension. So we choose ABC extension because that's kind of like the warehouse. Okay. Then we have for pudding, which is where you cook the food. Okay. It's a type of kitchen. So we have at extension to pudding. Then we have the extension butchery. Okay. And this is at the extension. So what do we have again? That's for the warehouse, yeah? Now for the lounge will have only one kitchen. So we can say ABC Annex kitchen. Maybe the lounge might have okay, what do people eat at the lounge? Yeah, they might eat goat meat or something, I don't know, with their drink with their wines. So let's have the three types: pastries, pudding, and butchery. Okay, so let's quickly set this up, and in another video, we'll continue with suppliers. So let's have ABC Annex pastries because it's the launch. Okay, so we'll go to Annex now. Pastries. Now ABC Annex pudding. Okay, so we'll go to the Annex pudding. And then we have ABC Annex butchery. Okay, and we'll go to the Annex butchery. Okay, so now that has solved for the annex. Now Lagos and Abuja are fast foods. And since they are fast food, they will have single kitchens. So let's have ABC Lagos kitchen, and then we'll choose Lagos. And then let's have ABC Lagos, no, ABC Abuja kitchen. ABC Abuja kitchen. Then we'll choose ABC Abuja. And we're done with setting up our business. So if you go to all the kitchens, we're going to see all the kitchens that are available in this business. So in the next video, we're going to show you how to set up suppliers and your inventory so that you can start ordering items from suppliers. But we have to go for now. Thank you so much, and see you in part 2 of the setup. Hi there. In the last video, we talked about the setup of everything from locations to stations to stores and kitchens for Supply Captain. So we're still on the setup of Supply Captain part 2. And in this part 2, we're going to try to make some progress. Of course, we were able to set up users, which was the first thing. So you need to set up your users and make sure the users are useful across stations and across the system. So now you have your suppliers. So we're gonna add suppliers today. And the way suppliers are added, we're gonna have three suppliers. We will have the CBA Farm Limited. That's a supplier. And the name of this person is Richard Rowe. So we have Richard Rowe. And Richard Rowe's phone number is this, which is compulsory. Richard Rowe may not have an email address, so that's fine. But Richard Rowe, as a supplier, has a physical address. So this is his supplier's address. The supplier is in Port Harcourt, 500101 in River State. Okay. So we have River State, 500101, suppliers in Nigeria. Now, the supplier's default order terms is 90 days, default delivery days is 7 days. That's fair enough. Okay, order terms are just how long suppliers supposed to wait for their money. That's their agreement, and how much time would it take to deliver to you. While the risk score is the level of risk that the supplier brings to your business. This is automatically calculated as you work with the suppliers. So now we've added our CBA farm. We're now going to add a second supplier. This will be CBA Foods. Okay. And they have their peculiarities. CBA Foods is run by Fred Nick. Okay. So Fred Nick. Okay. And his phone number is this. So we're going to just take the other part of his phone number here. And he doesn't have an email address, but he has an address somewhere at Bagada 100234. So we have Bagada, Lagos 100234, Nigeria. Okay, and these are the default order terms. Then we have the third and the final supplier, which is CBA Industries Limited. Do we need industries? I don't know. I mean, let's deal with food. Industry is quite a stretch. I don't know why we're having industry in this conversation. No, we don't need industry for this. Let's stop with these two suppliers. So now we're going to set up inventory. The first thing we need to do when setting up inventory is to add sections. So, what are the sections in the stores that we want to keep items? For us, we want to use perishable sections, okay, and have non-perishables, and have maybe fragile like eggs. So that's about it for us, for units, for sections rather. So if we want to add units, we're going to go ahead and add units. And for units, we're going to add how many now? We're going to add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 units. So the first unit we're going to add is 10 kg, and we're going to put it as 10. The second unit that we're going to add is 50 kg, and we're going to put the weight as 50. Okay, and the third unit we're going to add is 25 liters, and we're going to put the weight as 25. Okay, the fifth unit we're gonna, no, this is oh my god, no, let me not do this. Let me make this kilogram, kg. Okay, and make it one. Okay, let's make this 1 kg. Let's call it kg and make it one. Before we go to 25 liters, 25L, and make it 25, and then we'll go to 50L and make it 50. And then we are going to go to um okay, let's use the word liter here because liter might be misunderstood. I'll make it 1 liter. Now let's have crates of 12 items, crate 12, and make it the weight of 12. Okay, we're also going to add carton 2, that is 12, and we'll make the weight to be 12 as well. Then we're going to add carton 18, and we'll make the weight to be 18. Then For other items that we don't know what they are, we're going to just work with item and the weight will be 1. Great. So these are our units. Now we need to add some global items so that we can start purchasing things from suppliers, shall we? So the first item we're going to add is the AA brown rice. The AA brown rice. And what type of item is this? This is raw. What unit does this item work with? We have two types of the brown rice, but we'll just work with the lower units. So we're working with the one of 10 kg. So we'll choose 10 kg. And the price for 10 kg is 21,000. Okay. Now we have the warning quantity, which is 10 bags. Warning expiry days 60 days, and first in, first out is for this item. Tada, we have our first global item. Now, let's see how much time we have left. See if we can play around with adding items. Oh, we've used almost 10 minutes. Mm, let's try to add as much as we can. Let's add, let's work on this brown rice because there's something you have to know here. So now this is the brown rice that is 10 kg, yeah? So we're going to put 10 kg here so that anybody who is issuing this or receiving this knows that this is in 10 kg. We're going to still do this AA brown rice again for 50 kg and it's 58,000 naira. Okay, so we'll do AA brown rice 50 kg. It's raw. The unit is 50 kg here, and the price of the rice is 58,000 naira. Okay, we add. So we're done with AA brown rice. Let's do BB basmati rice. BB is like the brand. I don't want to promote any brand here. BB basmati rice 10 kg goes for 40,000 naira. Okay, we didn't put 10 kg, so let's put 10 kg here. Okay, then let's add the BB basmati rice again. 50 kg. It's raw. We select 50 kg, and the 50 kg goes for 150,000 naira. Okay, so we have 10 kg, 50 kg, all the rice put in. Now we have frozen chicken. Frozen chicken is per kg. It's just frozen chicken. Can buy from anybody. Now frozen chicken is, let's see, what would you call frozen chicken? It's not, is it raw, processed, or perishable? Okay, so let's check this out. It's frozen chicken raw, classified as raw, processed, or perishable. What do you think? It is, let's go ahead with the kg for now until we get that sorted out. Then the price per kg is 4,500. Okay, frozen chicken is of the three types, so we can just choose anything. I think I will go for perishable. Okay, so let's just go for perishable. So the estimated price is 4,500, and then we add this. So, what this does is it tells us that for 4-5, you can get 1 kg of frozen chicken. That is okay. Let's even put it this way: whole. Let's be clear. Okay, let's say whole to say whole chicken. Okay, now let's go vegetable oil, but let's check the time first. Okay, we're just halfway done. So we're going to add cc vegetable oil for 25 liters. Okay, so we'll add this, I will say 25 L. Vegetable oil is processed, and this is 25 liters. Yeah, and the price is 70,000 naira. Okay, it may not be the real market prices, just manage for this demo. Now we're going to do cc vegetable oil again, 50 liters at 60,000 naira. Processed, 50 liters, 60,000 naira. Okay, we're almost done. So we're going to have eggs, 1 crate of eggs at 5,000 naira. Okay, so we're going to say eggs, 1 crate, or eggs crates. Let's call it crates. Eggs are perishable. Oh no, let's call this raw. This is quite raw. It came from the chicken. So we have 12 eggs in 1 crate. Yeah. So then we have the price is 5,000 naira. So there are actually like 30 eggs in 1 crate, but this is intentional just to show that you can use your own kind of packaging. Like you can put, you know, 10 eggs, 5 eggs, depending on the packaging you're using. Maybe you're even using cartons and there's no more space in the part of the store that you're making use of. So you should be able to make your own quantities, your own sizes, your own weights, your own room potentially. So this is why we're using 12. So enjoy the process, get the lesson. Thank you. Let's work with 12 for now. So we have our egg. Then let's have French wine, DD French wine. Now we're adding DD French wine, carton, because we want to sell it in cartons. We want to distribute it in cartons. We might even want to say there are 18 items in a carton. So this is processed carton. Oh, hang on. I think that let's just use carton of 12 for the wine. Wine shouldn't be so much at that. So let's say it's 150k. So we have a carton of bottles of wine, 150k, 12 French wine. Then we have, let's try to get the individual bottles of wine. So we say the French wine bottle. Now let's say that was 12. 12 was 150k, yeah? So let's try to be optimistic. So that means one is 12,500 naira. But what if one was 15,000 naira? Okay, great. So a bottle processed wine, 15,000 naira. Let's um let's add another unit. Let's call this bottle. Okay. Then we're going to add our French wine and say bottle. Processed unit is bottle. And then this is 15,000 naira for each bottle. So we've done our French wine. And then we have towels, which is our last inventory item. So towels are 16,000 naira each. Now the towel is not 16,000 naira. Maybe it's okay. Well, these are premium towels, so let's call them premium. Okay, the towels are for using in the bar. They are very solid. And the problem with towels now is that we can't use this to buy towels. So I think we have to stop. And you can't use washing liquid and towels in the kitchen. So these items are not for supply captain. So let's do without them. I think we have stopped at where we can stop for supply captain. So in the next video, we're going to do some. Okay, no, we have about 11 minutes. So let's try to do a transaction, even if it's one. So we're going to stock HQ. We're going to stock the headquarters. So we're going to create a requisition, and we're going to call this requisition stock HQ. Okay. So we'll come to purchasing. We'll add a requisition. We'll say stock HQ. Okay. Let's call this CEO birthday. Okay. So what do we need for CEO's birthday? We need basmati rice. We need a whole chicken frozen. We need vegetable oil. We need um maybe eggs. Yeah, one crate. We need yeah, French wine. We need it in cartons. And we just need to add bottles to it so that we can give some bottles out or use some bottles. We're stocking the store, but we're preparing for the party. So we need 10 bags of rice here. Okay. We need frozen chicken. Um, let's do five frozen chicken. Vegetable oil, 25 liters. We need four. Is this 25 liters? Yeah, it is. We need four. Yeah. We need we need for we need to for crates. Maybe we need three crates of egg. We need French wines. Let's buy two. Let's request for two. And we need some bottles. Let's get 10 bottles. Yeah, 10 bottles. Now the issuing station is going to be the HQ. Let me confirm that we have time to close this out. Yeah, we have 8 minutes. So the issuing station is going to be the HQ, and then the supply station is going to be the HQ. So we're going to add this, and it will go for approval. So the internal requisition reviewer is going to see all of these. He's going to be able to click on it and make a decision on it, approve or decline, and he can go ahead and approve. So when he approves this, then you can come to purchasing and see the items that he has approved. Then you can generate an order for the items. So when you generate order, you come here, you see that there are other items here, and then you can choose the supplier who's going to do this. So you come here and choose the right supplier who would support this birthday, and let's choose CBA Foods Limited. Okay, and then you can update. So when you've chosen this, the next thing to do is to right click and generate a bill. Okay, so once a bill is generated, you can now have your beautiful purchase order for the supplier to go and bring the items. So this is what the purchase order is going to look like. And that's our logo on the left loading up. So you can easily print this. And you have your first order to be delivered in 7 days, 1.1 million naira. Not expensive. So let's try and receive one of the items. And in another video, we're going to receive the other ones. We're just going to receive the basmati rice. Sorry, I shifted from there. So we'll go to supply now and we'll receive the basmati rice. Now let's say the rice doesn't have good barcodes for scanning. So what we're going to do is we'll receive it as dry. We'll receive it into the non-perishable section. We'll generate an item reference since it doesn't have a barcode. And the expiry date, if we put any, needs to be 3 months away. So let's call it 30th September. Now the global item is the basmati rice. Yeah, it's this one, 10 kg. And then we have the quantity is we need to be sure about the quantity now. I think it was 10. Because if you don't get the quantity right, you are going to have to generate a flag. Okay, it's 10. So we'll put 10 as the quantity. Now this is having that the supplier has brought it in. Okay, and then you just come here and add it. And the items are going to be added to the store automatically. Okay, so if you come to supplies, yeah, the minimum is 10 items. So that's why you're getting a notice here. So you come to supply and you check here and you see that the items are in store. So you have the 10 bags of rice. If you come to your inventory, come to store items, you see the 10 bags of rice, though it's at the warning level. So this shows you exactly what it means to receive items. So watch out for the next video where we complete this and we take next steps. Thank you. Hi there, and good day to you. We have, done a requisition, placed order, We have generated the bill. We haven't added payment yet, but at least we have a supply. Yeah. So we received the supply, and when we received this supply, it was added to our inventory here under store items. So we have our inventory under store items. Okay. So now I'm recording this video to show you something that you need to understand about the process. Just a few things. Number one is that this this list, the size of this list you see here is determined by the name of the item. So if the name of the item is long enough, it will be longer. For instance, you see this DD French wine. This is the reason why the space is up to this point. If it's longer than this, it's going to increase in size. But this basically tells you the ID of the global item, name of the global item here, and the quantity. You know, the same thing in order, but in bills, there's something more. In bills, we also have price information. So you see, it's a bit wider. So you have unit price, you have quantity, and you have the total price of each item. Okay, so that's one thing. The second thing you need to know is if you go to bills, in the last video, the bill, this place, the comma did not have the right spacing. That the comma didn't have the right spacing, but here, that has been sorted out. So that was a little tiny bit of detail that we had to take care of. So just in case you're wondering why this is different in future videos, that was taken care of. Now let's move into supply. So supply is when the goods are received from a supplier or the goods are received from a station where they were issued from. So this supply that is recorded here now indicates the receiving process. Now the item reference here is an auto-generated item reference using the requisition ID and a serial number. In this case, 1. It could be 2, 3, 4, 5, depends on if this requisition has more items, for which it does. And we're going to use the item reference. But one thing to note is that usually you are going to need to get a printer. Okay. You're going to need to get a printer, and I mean, we're going to tell you the printer that you have to get. I think the name of the printer is Licon printer. I'm going to show you the printer. We've tested this printer, though other printers work, but the Licon printer is, I think it's this one. Okay, let's go to images so we can take a closer look. Yep. So this is the printer that you will need. It's a Bluetooth thermal printer. I want to see if I can open this image. Yeah, so this is a printer that you will need. Licon Direct Thermal Desktop label printer. And then you are going to also need a scanner. Okay. And for scanner, our recommendation is Zebra scanner. So a good Zebra product should work. And I think what we've tested is I thought I should be seeing images here, not prices. Okay. So we have tested this. I want to try to open it. Though most of these scanners are going to work, but
We're just telling you what we have tested. I think it's this one we tested. But I don't want to use that image. I want to use something better. Okay. Yeah, this is okay. So you get a scanner like this. What the heck? Well, I don't know, but you get a scanner like this and it works. So this is going to scan. When you're buying a scanner, you have to make sure it can scan barcodes, QR codes exactly. You know, 1D, 2D, and all of that. So make sure it's a fully featured scanner. So anytime you want to receive items, you're going to need to scan them industrially. Now, if these items do not have QR code, you're going to need to print and to print, you can use Paint, Microsoft Paint to put things together, or you can use any other graphic editing software. The beautiful thing about Nikon printer is it works like a regular printer. So you can, set your page margins and all of that, and then be printing. So this is something we can set up for you. We can also get the printer for you and the scanner at good prices. I just showed you something or somewhere, but I mean, this is no direct recommendation of where to buy the scanner. This is just a Google search, yeah. But we're telling you the type of scanner, and then we're telling you the type of printer. So the natural thing to do is when the supplier brings an item, you scan them to receive them. But if the items cannot be scanned, you would have to use the option that we provided. That option is not available when you're editing, but it's going to be available when you're adding a supply. So when you choose to add a supply, you see now you can edit this, but this shows you what was done. And once this is done, it is done. Now, if you don't generate item reference, then you can scan the item reference or you can enter it. But if you are using your mobile device or mobile app, you will not be able to enter the item reference. Okay, and finally, we did not talk about this deduct and delete. Deduct and delete is an option that allows you to decide whether you want, you see, it's still editable. It allows you to decide as an admin. I mean, if you have administrative privileges on this app, it allows you to decide if when this supply is deleted as an administrator, whether the inventory is returned. So if we say deduct on delete, what it does is that it's going to remove the item from the inventory. But if you turn off deduct and delete, it will do no such thing. So that's what this does. So thank you so much for watching this video. In the next video, we're going to record additional supplies. For this demo, we're not going to be doing any scanning with the printer. If you want us to do scanning with the printer, you're going to have to arrange a special demo for that purpose. But for now, we're going to use automated generating of um, item references to move forward. So thank you so much. See you in the next video. Bye. Hello, and welcome to the next video we promised. So in this video, we're going to add the remaining items in the requisition. Okay. And to add those items, we're going to be working with the purchase order. So the next item we have to add is the frozen chicken. This is it here. Most times you can use the ID to add the item. I'm going to show you how to do that so that you get it right. Frozen chicken is in the frozen store, yeah? So you are going to add 5 of the frozen chicken. So this is how we're going to do it. First of all, in order to find the supply that is responsible, I mean requisition responsible for this bill, we have to do a little bit of interpretation. To do an interpretation, we have to check the order reference. Now, this order reference is actually the order and the bill. So this is the order and the bill. That's one way to find the order. So if you want to find the order, you come to the order here, and this is the bill. This tells you that this purchase order is the bill linked to a particular order. So you can have different orders and different bills. It's just a referencing. You can also use the purchase order number to find the order where that's the order that generated the bill. So you can search for this under the order. So that's the PO number here. So you can use the search and see it was processed. Then when you check this order, you will be able to see the requisition responsible. So here you have the requisition ID is 10001. So we have everything we need to receive our supply. So when we come to add supply, you see that the system already remembers what you were working with. You can search for this ID, like you can come here and type 10001 and press enter. You can even use tab and search for the supplier. The supplier is always one when it comes to supply. Then you know that this will go to the frozen store, but you know the system remembered, and this is the section for this is perishable though. Okay. Then we're going to generate item reference for this. We'll put an expiry date, 3 months away, 30th September. Then we'll paste that our ID. You see, it's frozen chicken whole. And remember, the quantity is 5. Okay. So when we do this, we would have received our frozen chicken whole into the store. So we can go on and on for each of these items based on what we've seen from the supplier. This is 10006. You know, it's even like 8, 9, 10. It's going to show this error because the quantity is small. So this is 4 items of vegetable oil. Let me even use a different window to add the supply so that I can have the bill open in one window. I mean, you can even have 3 windows open. You can have the bill open in this one. You can have the requisition. So open the requisition. So if you are receiving, you can have the requisition open, have the bill open, okay, and have your supply. So what we're doing now is vegetable oil. So we'll come here, easy peasy. Vegetable oil is under dry because it's quite packaged. It's not a vegetable stuff. Right, item ID, 30th September. And we do our 10006. This was vegetable oil. The quantity is what? 4. Now let me teach you something here. If you want to enjoy adding supply, you need to click add from the top. This plus button at the right top. When you do that, it will always take you to the list. So you enjoy making use of this system. This is 10008 now. So you pick this. There's 3 items of that our smaller crate. So we'll go. These are perish. No, this is father egg. Now you always have to remember the section where you put things, otherwise you won't be able to take them out. 30th. We put our item, expect. How many items now? We have three. All of them are going to complain because the minimum quantity is 10 for everything. So all these small amounts are definitely going to complain. So we have two French wine cartons. So you see, it came back here. So that when it comes here, you can see the details, whether it's in store or something. And you can customize your columns, like you can customize your columns here. You can choose what you want to see, what you don't want to see. You can add the column, and all that. There are quite a number of columns, so you can show and hide columns as you wish. So if you do this, you can just choose the one you want and work with it. Okay. So now let's add the next item, which is the French wine. French wine is two. So we're going to use our plus because I already remembered this. It doesn't remember the requisition because it doesn't know what you want to work with yet. So you have to choose stuff. And when you make the choices, it then remembers the last thing you work with. You see this supplier risk? Why is this supplier having risk? Okay. The supplier was supposed to, something is wrong with this supplier. Is this late supply? Hang on. I was supposed to deliver in 7 days. When was this made? This was made 6th of June. Okay. Okay. I'm going to have to see why the supplier has this. Okay. We're going to look into that supplier risk issue. But I'll explain what the risk does later. Hmm. Okay. I'm going to investigate this later, but let me add the items first. So two French wines. This is not okay. Well, this is fine then anyway. Okay. All right. So I think we're on the last one now, and we're going to receive these items here for this video. So in the next video, I'm going to try to calculate the supplier risk and I'll give feedback. But if anything had to change, I will let you know because this risk is increasing. This is for the wine. Okay, use a bottle now. The bottle is 10 bottles. 150K. All right. So we have these items. So now let's get back to you in the next video. Now that we've added all the items in store. Thank you so much. Hi there. Thank you for watching this video once again. I know that for those of you who are watching the full video, you are going to have a bunch of all this information. But then we are going to make sure that these videos are separated. Now, in this short video, I'm going to explain to you why we had some issues previously. The issues we had were that the supplier was gaining risk, and the supplier is not supposed to gain risk. The problem was the delay risk. The system was automatically calculating delay for the supplier using just the bill date in the bill record. So what we decided to do was to just include the delivery date as something we did not include before. So that has been sorted out. So what this means is that this supplier could have attracted risk only if the products were delivered in 8 days. So delivery days allowed is 7 days, and the grace day is 1 day. So in 8 days. So if you are delivering on the 8th day, for instance, that's the last day you can deliver. So you have 7 days to deliver, and the 8th day you can deliver. But on the ninth day, you are going to have full clear risk on that particular supply. So that is what was wrong. So the supplier risk is actually based on five different factors equated to 20% each. So we have the first risk, which is this delay risk, where if a supplier delivers late, it's going to trigger 20% average of all the late deliveries. Okay. Then payments. A supplier is supposed to have like a order, like order terms, yeah. So if you go to add order, for instance, you're going to see that the supplier has order terms 90 days. And if you select a supplier, the specific order terms of supplier will be updated here accordingly. And you can modify it. If a supplier gets paid earlier than these 90 days, it introduces a risk. It means that this supplier is going to need their money a lot earlier. So an average of all the earlier payments based on the number of days earlier paid will constitute the risk. Now, the third form of risk, which we will talk about in upcoming videos after now, is the risk of flag. So if there's a shortage or there's an excess supply, there's a risk. That's 20%. Okay. And then that 20% is increased if the risk is a shortage risk. So if you have a risk, a flag, that's 20%. Now, if the flag is a shortage flag, that's another 20%. And these are averages of what the risks are. So average number of flags, average number of shortage flags give the 20%. So we've talked about 60% now, you know. Is it 60? Yeah, we've talked about flag, shortage flags, We're not going to talk about returns. So returns is if you have returns, it's also a risk. So basically there are three risks here. There's a delay, number one, the finance, earlier payment, number two, and then we have if there's a flag, number three, if it's a shortage, number four, and for returns, number five. So that's 20, 20, 20, 20 to make 100. Now there's a positive. If you have a flag and the flag is an excess flag, your risk is cancelled by minus 20% of the average of the excess. So if, for instance, you have flags and they are all excess flags, you don't have any risk, because you gave more items and the items were approved. So it's called given. So if it is accepted, it is taken as given. So you are not supposed to suffer risk for excess flags. So that's how risk works. And that was the issue earlier. Thank you so much for sticking through up to this point. Goodbye for now. Hello, in this video, this is our final video for Supply Captain. And in the videos for the other products, we're not going to talk about setting up the product. We'll set it up ahead of time. And then we're just going to show you the peculiarities in the other products because all the products work almost the same. So now we are going to do issuing. We've done receiving into the station. We're going to do issuing before we talk about a couple of issues and close out. And we're going to do only one issuing. So we're going to issue items from the headquarters to the annex. So that one we're going to call the requisition move from HQ to annex. Okay. So let's do requisition move from HQ to annex. And in order to do this, we have to make sure we have the right stock to move. So usually what you have to do is to go to your store items to figure out what you want to move. We're going to do shortage, we're going to try to do returns as much as possible. We're going to do all of this in this. So we are moving these two items that are 10 items. We're moving 5 out of each. Well, we're moving 5 bottles and 5 bags of basmati rice. Okay. Now, in order to move these items, you will see that there are, let's just go to basmati, 10 kg. This is 5. And then the wine is 5 bottles. That's 5 bottles. So you can move any little thing. So let's go from HQ to annex. Please note that if you choose the same issuing station with the same supply station, you have to move from store to store. You can't move anywhere else. You can't move to the same store you get. So that's way from one store to the other. So when I add this, it's going to seek approval. Okay. So I'm going to have to come here to approve this. That's because it's just me, but the right person to approve will have to come here. Now, because this is issuing, we don't have to carry out any purchasing activity. In the first 5 items, we're going to do what is called a shortage. But before we even know what to issue, we're going to start from somewhere. First things first is that before you issue, you have to have a supply. And it means that the item that you're issuing needs to have been registered for that issue. So what you now need to do is to go and figure out which supply you are issuing from. Okay. So we talked about the basmati rice, yeah. I think basmati was the very first item, if I'm not mistaken, yes. So what I'm going to need here, I'm going to need the item reference. That's it. So if I pick this item reference now, I come here, I'm going to choose, okay, no, the issuing station is HQ. Then I'll choose the requisition. You have to choose the right place. So move from, it's going to bring it out. Then the store. Which store are you moving from? The dry store. What type of item is non-perishable? Get the section right. Then we'll put the item reference before it's going to pick up. If the reference is wrong, it won't pick up. Now, how you know is that the unit price is going to come out. So now we need to move 5 items. But what we're going to do now is that we're going to move 3. Okay. No, no, no. Let's move the 5. Or we can move 3 and 2. So we can move 3. You can also add a dispatch. We can, I mean, this part is a feature we can talk about later. It just helps you to group your items. In fact, let me even add a dispatch. So the dispatch is coming from HQ to the annex and is Sienna 123. Okay, now the dispatch is pending. Now the issue with using dispatch is that you have to make sure that the item is all the items were received in the dispatch before you can receive the item in the store. Otherwise, you will never be able to receive the items. So this again is non-perishable with the item reference. And then let's use our dispatch. Now in this dispatch, we have 3 items. We put them first in the dispatch. Okay. And then we come here again, HQ, move from annex. Okay, dry non-perishable city members. Then we then put a quantity 2 here. And this part it remembered it. Okay. So let's put the next item. The next item is I think it's the bottle of wine. Now it automatically removes it when you do the issuing. So it's not going to be in the store because it chooses that the record has left. Oh, I didn't put this in drinks, did I? I didn't receive it in drinks. I received it in fragile. Okay, that's interesting. I was supposed to. It's in the dry store, and you can move from dry to drink store with the requisition easily. Okay, so now we have it as fragile. This is imagine me scanning it, and then here I do 5 bottles. I put this in the dispatch. I may or may not put it in the dispatch. But the problem with this is that if you're using the same, um, requisition, when you're receiving the items, you have to, like if it's the same item, like the one that we did twice, if it's the same, you have to receive the dispatch. But if it's different, you don't have to receive the dispatch. So for this one, let me do without dispatch for this one, for the wine. And since it's 5 items. So let's say I put the wine in my car. So now I want to then receive the same wine. I need to be smart about it. I'll go to annex and then the requisition will allow me to move. There's not going to be any bill. Then I come to the store and what am I receiving? I'm receiving a dry item first. It is a non-perishable item. I put my item reference, so that one. Now I have to remember the expiry date. Okay, remember in this one, there's a dispatch. So you see what's going to happen when I try to receive this rice. It's not going to allow me to receive the rice at all. I want to do a shortage here, but see what happens. So it tells me that the dispatch must be received. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go to the dispatch and update the status. Normally, a dispatch status needs to be updated from pending to in transit and then eventually gets to received. Okay, so let's say it's in transit now. Okay, but when I try to submit, it says no, I have to receive it. So you have to check and make sure that the Sienna is there. So when I put received, I put the received date. Uh, and now I have received it. And once you received it, you can't update it again. It's received, it's received. So the next thing for you to do now is to try to add the supply. Now, even if the items were dispatched in parts, you are expected to receive it in full. Otherwise, you will have a shortage flag. So you see now there's a shortage, and you have to report that shortage because there were a total of 5 items and I received only 3 for that expiry date. If the expiry date is different, it will count differently. So let's come to add a flag now. And what flag are we adding? We're adding a flag for our basmati connection. We call it shortage. No, I'm not sure. It's not this one, it's this one. But if you add it on this one, it will tell you that there's no shortage flag. So let's say I add it and say, okay, I'm missing items. Okay. And I try to add, the system is going to complain that it cannot be created where items have already been moved. So I'm going to choose this one now and then add it. And it has recorded the shortage, but approval is going to be required. So whoever the flag reviewer is, the person has to come and look at the shortage, approve of it, and then the moment the shortage is approved, the person now needs to come to the supply where that is received, and then you know sort out this. So once you update this now, it's going to automatically receive only those 2 items into only those 3 items into the store and specify that there was a shortage quantity of 2. If there was excess, it will specify the excess as well. So that being said, in this shortage case, if there's a return, if there's an item to be returned, you're going to have to choose the item from the supply. So, and it has to be something that has shortage. Like if you choose this first one now, you see there's no shortage flag. But if we choose this last one, there's shortage flag. So you see that there's shortage flag. Then you choose 2, that was the shortage. Or you can say you want to return 1 or so. I said missing items, but it will be broken also. So let's say we found it later and we returned it to the one that is 2. So now that we process this return, you will notice that the stock has changed, but there's nothing you can do beyond this point. So let's go to the inventory to see what has really happened. Now, what has happened now is that instead of 5 items to be removed from the drink, like the bottle, we have okay, we have processed the return. So the bottle now has, let's see. Okay, this is for rice rather, sorry. It's for the rice. It's not even there. So you see now that in the annex we have only 3 items, but in the station, in this other place we have 7. So what has happened is that it has returned the 2 items to the store. this store. For the wine, we haven't received the wine, so we're just going to go ahead and receive the wine. So the supply station is this. There's no supplier bill. We're going to receive the wine. Now for us, we're going to do the right thing and receive it under drinks and make it fragile. Make it 30th here. So this is a bottle of wine. Uh, we have 5 and tada, the wine will be in our store. So if you come here now, you see that the French wine is in the annex drink store. So this is how this works. So thank you so much for following this whole um, demo. Thank you. Okay, so in this last video, I actually forgot to add one more short video, but this video is going to be quick and it focuses on consumption. So you see, when you have these items, you have to be able to consume them. In other videos, we tell you different ways that consumptions work, but you have to be able to consume items in kitchens. So if you want to record consumptions, you basically have to look for the station where you're consuming from. We're just going to consume from here. We're going to see if we have up to 2 bags of rice to consume. So it's going to allow us to pick the specific store items. And then here I want to consume 2 bags of rice and I want to consume it in the pudding kitchen. So I can mark it as planned first or mark it as consumed. If I mark it as planned, it will not remove the item yet. It's just going to be a plan. Okay, and this can be risky, but it's good for effective planning. But when it's time to consume the item, you can just choose the date and then mark it as consumed. So that way, it's going to take 2 items from the annex industry, the annex branch, this dry store of the annex. So let's check the inventory now and check the rice. And we're going to see that it has been taken from it. So let's look for the annex dry. This is it, the 10007. And when we look at the remaining items, it's only 1 bag left. So that's how consumption works. And I thought to mention this. So this explains everything about Supply Captain for your use. Thank you.